in season at Maple Grove Raceway, the NHRA racetrack with a long history of bumper crops. It is here today that Frank Manzo is ripe for a record haul of his own. No racer in the history of the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series has hit the triple-digit mark in the national event win column, 100 victories. Well, that could all change over the next hour. The ace chases the century mark. Next. It is here at the AutoPlus NHRA Nationals where history can be made today. Only one guy has ever won more than 100 national events. It's the guy in the green fire suit, John Force. Frank Manzo believes that that can change today, and you can best believe that John Force thinks that way as well. Alongside of Bob Fry, I am Dave Reef. The other big news, there is only one guy with the depth and knowledge of the sport of the NHRA, quite like Bob Fry. And Bob, we're going to say goodbye to you as you go into retirement at the end of the year, but for no other reason than just want to step back.
Yeah, well, I figured I'd do it before they asked me to leave, you know, so it's a good opportunity. When I started doing races 46 years ago, I said I want to be in this long enough to see somebody win 100 races in the sportsman classes. So Frank's probably going to do it sooner or later, and, you know, I'll be spending time with the grandsons next year.
Well, I think I can speak for everybody. You're certainly going to be missed, but we're not saying goodbye to him just yet. We still have some unfinished business. And about Frank Manzo, he comes to a racetrack where he's won 13 national events. He's also done that in Atlanta. He's also done that in Englishtown. Shoot, there was 10 straight years he didn't lose at this racetrack, so the odds are at least in the Ace's favor.
The weather conditions are in the Ace's favor, too. It is going to be spooky quick here this weekend. Frank coming into this race 70-14 here at this racetrack. That's a pretty good winning percentage. And every round of competition, he's better than 70% rounds win. He's going to be awfully tough to beat. But the conditions are good. We've got some other 540 cars here. Mickey Farrow, Paul Gill on the grounds. They're not going to give up without a fight.
Could be a big weekend for the man standing by with Jamie Howe.
The scenario in the Alcohol Funny Car Championship is pretty simple. If Frank Manzo can win the event, he can win the championship. Frank, it would also be your 100th national victory. How much pressure are you feeling?
A lot of pressure. I act like it don't bother me. I'm not nervous, but I'm really nervous. And I'm just going to go up there and do the best I can. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And I can tell you that Frank Manzo has already advanced in round number one. Let's see what else has gone on so far in Top Alcohol Funny Car. We start with the 15 qualifier, Eric Laurie, and the man defending Pennsylvania, John Andrika.
Andrika is having a career weekend here. Some great performances. Slid that thing out of the groove a little bit, pulled it back, still goes 563. Enough to get around Eric Laurie, who'd been to the money round here before, but won't get to round two today.
Cool conditions mean opportunities for wild and wacky things. I offer you Paul Gill and Clint Thompson.
About as wacky a round one as we've seen all season long. Clint Thompson from the Great Northwest comes out. He runs right over in front of Paul Gill. Seems like every time we see Paul Gill, somebody's running over the center line. He did it at Indy. Clint Thompson here at Maple Grove.
Let's take another look at that, this time from behind, and watch the car on the left side of your screen.
Yeah,
can't quite keep it off. Nope.
And he just center punched those little orange blocks, each one of them a timing location on the racetrack. Good driver that he is, was able to pull it back onto his side of the course.
Well, now let's talk about staying away from the center line, but you also want to stay away from the wall. Todd Venny in the right lane, Paul Noakes. Noakes is going to streak away. Venny's going to tap it hard.
That was strange because Todd was in stage, had the RPMs way up. Paul had not yet moved into both beams. I don't know if that threw Todd off or not. You can see his reaction time there. Then the car drifts out. Almost looked like it was aimed over there a little bit and shakes the tires, stays with it, hit the wall. When it comes to those walls, you can win or lose. You just don't want to tie.
It is now quarterfinal time in Top Alcohol Funny Car, and here's how they will stack up when they come back to the starting line a little bit, with Manzo taking on Tony Vogelo. Mickey Farrow will pick his lane against Brian Harvanek. Mickey a chance to perhaps put together a late season charge. John Andrika and Paul Gill will also pick their lanes when Top Alcohol Funny Cars come to the lanes in just a bit. Now let's talk about Top Alcohol Dragster, where 6 of the top 10 players are here this weekend. Mike Koski, Randy Meyer, that's a championship winning car.
Yep, Randy with the A fuel dragster drifts a little bit. We very rarely see Randy do that. He is excellent once he gets on the racetrack. Drove it over the center line. That's grounds for disqualification. Mike just limps across, but he got the win light.
I don't know what it is going on here. Maybe everybody's trying to run so good, and once the car gets out of the groove like Randy's, just a little bit, that's all it takes.
Yeah, sometimes you stay with it just a little bit too long. That car made the hard move as soon as he hit the gas over the center line, out of here.
Well, Dan Page is in the left lane driving for Arthur Gallant, set here to take on Frank Schuster, the lower qualified car. But
yeah, Schuster's car with a very good performance this weekend. They've been living in the 540 range. Dan was driving for Arthur Gallant, the former Lucas Oil champ, 3-time finalist here at this racetrack. But Schuster in that car, this is their best showing from a performance standpoint all year long.
Koski, a Pennsylvania racer, moving on. Now here's John Finks taking on Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. Rich McPhillips, a guy who's 4th in the points and not going to earn any more here this weekend.
Yeah, Rich, who used to race here at this track, I mean, long before they even had the national event, and that's going back 28 years, goes 541. Wait to see the tail of the tape here. This was just a great drag race. Somebody's got to win. John Fink does it by just about that much.
Now let's go to the Riz Sloan machine of Bill Reichert, 3rd in the points. Mike Burns got that flapping chicken on the back.
It was not a good day for Mike. It was a horrible day for the chicken. You'll see what we mean in just a moment, because they just blew that thing up big time. Bill Reichert with a 535 out of the 1 spot, continues marching on. But Mike Burns driving for Leonard Cottrell, who took John Spielman to some final rounds here. But watch this, that poor little chicken was completely covered with feathers when it started, naked after this.
Watch carefully. Boom. That's how you level the supercharger. So here is the Top Alcohol Dragster ladder presented by Lucas Oil as we head into round number 2 with a little change in the order of events. Here's Bill Reichert, Dan Mercier picked their lanes on this half of the ladder. Over on the other side, it's going to be Chris Demke and Richie Burke when he comes to the racetrack. I mentioned a little bit of a different feel here. That's because the dragsters are going first. Dragsters are also racing their 2nd round on Saturday afternoon. We don't usually do that. Dan Mercier, Mike Koski kick it off round 2. Problems in the left lane. So give it to the right lane as Koski goes 560, 251 miles an hour. And you also saw some nice blue skies out there right now. Cool conditions. The temperatures drop now to 65 degrees. Gonna have a little fun here.
Mike Koski here at probably his very favorite racetrack. He's been to the final round here 6 times. He's the defending event champion. Raced here first in 1986, the 2nd year of this race. They were high-fiving back on the starting line, Dave, but a 560 is not going to get a lot of high fives. Won the round, saw that little wiggle, got off the throttle, goes 251. But just something about this racetrack. Mike Koski, one of the great veterans of this sport, coming here to this track, and feels like the championship is his for the other guys to take it away.
Now, we talked about all the top 10 players that are here. Great field of alcohol dragster cars, and right now here comes one of them that'll test the limits of this racetrack right now. That is Frank Schuster, who sits opposite of Chris Demke, a guy who's sitting 2nd in points right now, and going to try to do everything he can to finish there by season's end.
The Peenwright team ran 531 in qualifying, stepped it up to a 526 in round number 1. And the weather conditions right now, we could see this car make its quickest run ever. Frank Schuster's going to have to be absolutely perfect to even stay in the game.
Now, we talked about those conditions. What are we exactly talking about? I mentioned the air temperature at 65. Racetrack at 78 right now. Water grains are down, humidity's down. The density altitude means these cars are going to have a lot of horsepower. And if you listen real carefully behind each one of these runs, you're going to hear the echo. These cars running throughout all the hills here in Pennsylvania.
And these cars will make a lot of noise because these are the supercharged cars that'll raise the RPMs way up on the starting line. Those trees give us a lot of oxygen here. Everybody says if you come to Maple Grove, 2 things. If it's clear, it's going to be fast. But if it's clear is the operative word, because this race has been plagued with bad weather. September, August, October, doesn't make any difference when you run it. They just can't seem to get a break weather-wise. But right now, conditions here are unbelievable.
Well, we know the forecast for tomorrow does call for a little rain. Perhaps that's why the NHRA officials, in an effort to make sure we get done with this event, have brought 2nd round to Saturday.
They're going to hustle everybody up. You're facing a really bad day tomorrow. Not that I put any faith in the weatherman.
No.
You know, please don't write me the National Meteorological Society, but, you know, they're wrong very often.
Boy, look at that Peenwright car go. At the finish line, another 526. 5.268. Double thumbs up at the starting line as Demke moves into the semifinals at Maple Grove.
Nice run, too, for Frank Schuster. I said they'd have to be just about perfect. He goes 5.44, matching his career best. He runs 262, but Dempke and that Peen right, the Jerry Madden car, gets on this racetrack, and they're going to be awfully tough to beat. 5.268, runs 272. Just monster numbers for that car. When it's on, it is just almost impossible to beat.
Top of the racetrack, here's Jamie.
Well, Mike Koski got a win light on that run, but you shook the tires. How nervous are you heading into the semis?
Oh, I'm not nervous. We've been here many times before, but we got to thank a lot of people for us being here, because we heard a key part to our race car yesterday, and a good friend of ours loaned us his supercharger there. It's like lending your wife to somebody in a way, but we're lucky and glad we're here. That's all I can say. It's nice to be here.
Luck's certainly on his side today.
I don't know if I can draw that analogy.
To coin a phrase. Wow. But you know what? How humble is he? I mean, he's got a great career that he's had. He's won a lot of races, you know, lined up against Frank Manzo back in the old Pro Comp days, and just continues to come out here and run well. And there's nothing fluky about that car, the way it runs.
And it just goes to show you how good we are out here. You know, everybody helping everybody. They want to beat you on the racetrack. They don't want to beat you because you're missing a race car part. As Bill Reichert, John Fink come to the line now.
Well, these are the conditions where one of these cars, or both of them, could go into like uncharted territory. I'm talking about, you know, low 520s or 5-teens. They're that good. Bill Reichert not happy with the fact that he will not be able to pick up that #1 spot, but he's got an awesome race car. In the world of A-Fuel dragsters, that's the quickest car ever was. And John Fink coming up right now, trying to protect the turf for the guys here in the northeastern part of the country. He got by Rich McPhillips in the opening round, and Bill Reichert took out Mike Burns and the Len Cottrell team for these two giants to meet here in round 2.
Good look at that one-piece carbon fiber body over there for Fink. For Bill Reichert, it's the yellow wrist loan machine.
I mean, even the way the letters are in Bill's car, looks like it's going fast. Just
like it's
sitting
fast.
There. Yeah.
Fink gets away first and crosses the finish line. Second.
Took off before the tree was activated to John Fink. It's been his one Achilles heel over the years. Getting out of the starting gate clean. Just got the big jump. Had to throw a real scare into Bill Reichert. But then Bill goes 5.254. That's an excellent run. That should be one of the best runs, second behind Richie Burke here for time. 268.97. And you can see him back on the starting line there. There's Jackie and the rest of the team. And they're going, oh, man, I can't believe that he did that. Gave it away.
More second round action coming your way next from Maple Grove.
The NHRA Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series brought to you by Lucas Oil, the world leader of high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives for everyday cars and trucks.
And we are back with the second round of Top Alcohol Dragster here at Maple Grove Raceway. Chris Dempke advancing on to the semifinals, but your team has worked hard this weekend. How many hours have they put in?
I'll tell you what, we first round blew one up pretty bad and really had to thrash to make it to this round. I want to thank the guys from the funny car, Pomponio, I think is their name. Those guys were all over helping us out. It's like one big family, and I can't thank those guys enough. We wouldn't have made it up here for this round. But anyway, got the car back in the 20s. She's hauling the mail, and I don't know who I got to race next round, but I'm ready for him. Woo!
We're about to find out. It's either going to be Richard Bork or Dwayne Shields.
Isn't that a nice little tip of the cap to Dan Pomponio, who advanced on his own right in the second round on the funny car class, native of down there in the southern New Jersey area. Like I said, everybody likes to help everybody. Here's Richie. He had the low ET in the opening round with that race car. That is screaming this season. He's got the reigning Lucas Oil champ, Dwayne Shields, the new look Peak Motor Oil car. He's been as low as 517 in his career. You know, we saw Bill Reichert go. I'm not sure Bill's going to be pleased with his run. May have gotten a little spooked because of the start in the other lane, but you know, a 5-team might be in this racetrack here today.
Charlotte winner on the left, Indy winner on the right, both A-Fuel. Right lane with the advantage, and it's going to be Dwayne Shields, who goes 5:31.1, 264 miles an hour. So it will be Dempke with lane choice when he meets the champ, Dwayne Shields.
Yeah, a little tire chatter right off the starting line there for Dwayne Shields in the blue Peak Motor Oil car, and then drives out of it, winds up getting the win. It'll be 2 injected cars, 2 supercharged cars, slugging it out in the semifinals. Let's go down to Jamie.
And Bill Reichert advancing on to the semifinals with a 525 with a 4. Bill, you got out of the car, said, that's not bad. You'll take it. You run divisional races here. How much does that help you knowing the track?
Well, this track is a great track, and it sometimes gives you trouble because it's so good. But we do have the advantage that we run it every year in the divisional race, too. So that gives us a little bit of help. Lets the Bars Leaks Rizlone car do a little bit better, maybe.
You will have lane choice over Mike Koski.
That's good. Thank you.
Well, Maple Grove, a great racetrack indeed, as we take a look at our Top Alcohol Dragster semifinals, where that man will pick his lane over Mike Koski. On the other side, Chris Dempke picking his over Dwayne Shields.
Yeah, he made that reference. He came here and won the division race too, so very big that he's got that knowledge behind him. And as he said, this racetrack is always good. Guys that can make a lot of power, the Bill Reicherts, the Shields, the Dempkes of the world, love coming here to this racetrack. When it's good, it's as fast as any track on the circuit.
Well, when it comes to visiting racetracks, well, you got to take the top honors there. We sent you out to where this time for a Sportsman Spotlight?
And I do get to travel all around, and it's so cool. I've been to over 200 racetracks, and we got to hang out in Douglas Motorsports Park, home of the Jackalope. You ought to see them. They're all over the place. Had to chase them off the racetrack, for goodness sakes. Gary, first of all, tell me a little bit about your car that you're racing here.
It's a 70 Plymouth Barracuda. It's a tube chassis car. Runs super gas and ET brackets with it. I built the car. Me and a buddy of mine named Marlon Holmquist built the car. Started about 1998. I licensed with it in the end of '98, and I've been running the car ever since then.
And tell us about your other car.
It's a 70 Dodge Dart Swinger. Built that car in 1986. And it doesn't get run a heck of a lot anymore, but I still got it, and it still looks the same as it did 15 years ago.
What is it about the Mopars you like?
Everything. I'm a Mopar guy. My dad was a Mopar guy, and I got brought up that way, and it pretty much took a hold.
Tell us about racing here at Douglas.
Douglas is a great place to race. You know, it's a small track in a small town, and everybody knows everybody. So you got that atmosphere of hang out with everybody, you know, the race, and you race the guy, you want to beat him, but you know when you get done, you want to hang out and talk and just have a good time. And it's just an overall friendly deal. And we've been enjoying it now since 1985.
Tell us about some of the great trophies they have here every now and then.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the Jackalope. Yep, the Jackalope is something that everybody wants one of. And I've got lucky, and I've got 4 of them. And they do that typically once a year, the Jackalope Bracket Nationals, and it's typically early in June. And we get people from far and wide coming up to want specifically to get one of our Jackalopes.
That's not a Jackalope.
No, but that was in the pits at Douglas Motorsports Park. That's how cool that was. The Jackalope trophies they give out are just marvelous. It's such a fun place to be. Really enjoy being down there at Douglas. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Dwayne Shields advances on to the semifinals where he'll face Chris Dempke, but you gave up lane choice. What does that mean for you?
So with that Peak Motor Oil and NGK plugs, I think we're getting there. You know, we have not had the fastest car lately, and we're just trying to sneak up on it and not have it smoke the tires right at the step. So hopefully with all new conditions coming up on the weather, we can take this thing into the win circle like Indy.
Dwayne Shields, always with a smile and always optimistic.
Now having such a great weekend here as Maple Grove Raceway celebrates its 50th anniversary by honoring the late Grumpy Jenkins.
I just had a little seminar that I hosted over there in the GM area. It was great with all of his guys. Even Jerry Stahl stopped by. What a great tribute to the Grump here at the Grove.
More Lucas Oil Drag Racing, second round, Top Alcohol Funny Car when we come back. Good time here at Maple Grove Raceways. You take a look at Dan Page with a wheels-up charge and qualifying. A pretty good movie brought that one back there.
He's driving a car that's built by a guy, or he builds the race cars, but tuned by a guy that fixes airplanes for a living. So maybe got his 2 occupations confused.
Burnout's complete now. It's John Andrika and Dan Pomponio come your way right now as we are into the quarterfinal round of Top Alcohol Funny Car. You find your driver if they're highlighted in yellow. They have the lane choice here on a crisp Saturday evening. Temperatures now falling under 60 degrees. Humidity's pretty reasonable. Water drains are dry. Cars are making lots of horsepower right now.
Yeah, a whole pile of power here. There's Dan Pomponio. That's the guy we referenced earlier for helping out one of the teams. And John Andrika having if not a career year, certainly close to it. Went to the finals at the division race out in Norwalk and up in Epping. We saw him here on ESPN go to the final round in Charlotte. And that car is running so very well. So two guys that are looking for that national event win here, and basically their home track. Dan from over in New Jersey, and the Pennsylvania car for John Andrika. One of them goes to the semifinals.
John from Wyoming, Pennsylvania. I wonder if there's a Pennsylvania in Wyoming.
No, it's not far from Delaware, Ohio, or Virginia, Minnesota.
There you go.
The kids will go back to school, get C's in geography this week, and blame it on us. Not really. He said that Delaware's in Ohio and Wyoming's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Big time tire shake out of the number 2 qualifier. Pomponio will take it the distance, go 5.69. You saw John try to get back on it a couple of times, but the black machine was driving away into the semifinals here at Maple Grove.
We saw him in Norwalk for that sensational win, and over Frank Manzo earlier. We've seen him go deep into the eliminations, and you know, if John Andrika was having a career year, so is Dan Pomponio. Kid who used to race down at Atco Dragway in New Jersey. And look at that tire shake. You were talking about the weather conditions. They're awesome here, but you got that fine line. You know, if you don't get those tires spinning enough, you're going to shake like that, and you're going to watch the guy in the other lane streak towards the winner's circle.
Back at the starting line, it's Brian Harvanek, Mickey Farrow, who's in the left lane.
Mickey harboring those title hopes, but he would need the planets and the stars to align just perfectly in order to do it.
A lot of wins.
Yeah, so right now all he's got to do is take care of business. He's the better of the 2 race cars here, although Brian Harvanek has been running career best numbers. He's gone 5.64 3 times here this weekend. That is uncharted territory for him. Just saw the guy in front of him shake the tires. He's got to be aware of that when he comes out. These cars are so aggressive in low gear. You can see that 64.3 in the opening round. Good performance here for this team that has made strides almost every time we've seen him this year.
Yeah, and look at all those tire chatter marks there right in front of you. That's some of that tire shake we're talking about. The telltale sign of getting your noggin shook around inside of a race car.
Yeah, because these cars really are so hard off the starting line. And the Mickey Farrow team is the car that's a 540 race car. Question is, right now, is this a 540 track? Not concerned about the ET. Can't worry about what Frank's doing. Just have to take care of business right here.
That tuning window, as it gets cooler, though, it gets smaller, it gets more narrow. It's like running on a razor's edge.
Yes, it does. If you hit it just right, you can run some super numbers here at this racetrack. If you miss it, you're going to do what John Andrika did.
Red light, good night in the left lane. Mickey fights it. Goes 5.76. Not a great number, but Farrow gets another opportunity when he comes back for the semifinals. Jamie.
Dan Pomponio with a big smile on your face, advancing on to the semifinals. How important is that?
It is very important to us right out there, okay? I appreciate it. It's very exciting, very good.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
Of course, Pomponio, the runner-up at Charlotte. Now the season's starting to wind down. It's a beautiful October day here in Maple Grove, but our next Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series event comes to you from Las Vegas. It's the Big O Tires NHRA Nationals, and you can watch all the action Sunday, November the 4th at 1 Eastern. Big question for Mickey Farrow is, Jamie, will he be heading out west to that race?
Well, Mickey Farrow will definitely be heading to the semifinals, but you don't know what you're doing the rest of the season yet. How do you decide it?
Well, I think we're going to go out west anyway, regardless of what happens here. But it just went out. It shook the tires really hard. And then I saw a whole lot of Brian. So I really didn't even know that we won that until we got up here. But for Ryko Hydraulics, for Hedman Headers, for the green stuff, for City Karting and all the people that support me, Valvoline, my family at home, we're moving on. And the next one is going to be, we got to take one at a time and see how we make out. But we're happy with the car.
Thanks, Mickey.
Thank you. Thanks.
Get the idea. Mickey Farrow's maybe looking forward to it probably being Frank Manzo. We'll find out in a pair, but right now it's Paul Noakes and Paul Gill.
Now, the Paul Gill team, we've said time and time again that on one run on any track is as good as any car out there, including Frank Manzo. Across the center line, comes to Maple Grove here, another one of the guys that has run here at Division I for a long while. Continually mentions his son, Junior, out there. And, of course, on the side of that race car.
About every Northeastern sports team.
Yeah, big Boston Bruins fan. He's also a Boston Red Sox fan. So congratulations. So sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Hockey? Well, we'll wait and see if that ever comes around in 2012, 2013.
I remember when they used to play hockey. All right, let's see what Paul Noakes can do here. The Mirador Drive Force entry and a race car that you see the numbers there. 562. Took out Todd Vinny in that, well, wacky opening round. But Noakes has a race car there that has to step up a little bit. If he can improve a little, hope that Paul slows a little bit, could be a good matchup.
Paul Noakes, of course, a Canadian native, probably wondering when they're going to play hockey too, but that is a clean, good-looking race car.
Yeah, they're looking for a 550 run. It's probably going to take that to beat Paul Gill. Paul's one Achilles heel might be getting that car off the starting line. Sometimes a little bit sluggish there and has given up a few races that he knows he probably should have won.
In the For What It's Worth, both these guys came out of the bottom half of the qualified field. Oh, wheels up. Big shake for Paul Gill. Is he going to run out of racetrack? Yes, he is. Give it to Paul Noakes, who goes 572, 254 miles an hour. Gill doing everything he could. Just ran out of 1,320 feet.
Yep. For those of you at home that are filling out your brackets, everybody that had Pomponio and Noakes in one semifinal, please raise your hand. I'm not seeing a lot of hands out there.
Not seeing hands, nope.
Wheels up charge there for Paul, then settles it back down. I mean, he slows big time to 578. Yep. And over there on the left side, I'm surprised that even with Paul's wheel stand shaking the tires, Noakes goes 72, and I'm stunned that that was good enough to get around Paul Gill.
And now it's time for that next big moment for Frank Manzo here at Maple Grove Raceway. Set to do his burnout with Tony Bogolo. At the top of the show, we saw the ace standing by with the 15-time champ John Force. Ace happens to have 15 as well. As Bogolo completes his burnout, here comes the Alan Abbey driver, who hopes to join John Force in that 100-win column. What do you say we go all access with the NHRA's two most prolific winners?
Manzo.
Hey, John, how
you
doing?
Did you get 100 yet?
No, I didn't.
You
99.
will. I can guarantee it. I would bet on it.
We'll see.
You tune and you drive.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I was a young guy. I got together with Tim Richards in 1976.
Good man.
And then probably in 1980, I got hooked up with Brad Anderson. So I kind of had East Coast, West Coast, and both guys thought different. One was a high compression, one was a low compression. One was a big cam, small cam. So I was very fortunate. I got information from both sides.
Ed and McCullough, they may call the ace, but this is the ace right here, buddy. If you ever watch this man on that racetrack, he impresses this old man.
You do a great job now. You're just trying to be a fox today and think you can't do it anymore.
I'm trying to get on TV, and without you down here, I don't get any.
Right about now, John's walking away going, what's compression? What's a cam?
Here's the top alcohol funny car points entering Reading, and this is what Frank Manzo's looking at. A win here. He can officially lock out Tony Bartone. There's a couple of other mathematical equations going on behind the scenes, but all Frank Manzo's worried about right now is winning round number 2 against the 8 qualifier, Tony Bogolo.
Yeah, Mickey Ferrer told me he's a big Tony fan right about now. He says, go Tony, pull the upset.
See if there's any shake. Uh-oh. Hold on, this one could be good. 548.6, 262 miles an hour. That represents low elapsed time and top speed for Frank Manzo, who's now 2 rounds away from the century mark. Jamie.
Well, Paul Noakes advances on to his first semifinal in NHRA competition.
Yes.
You got your work cut out for you, though. What's it going to take to?
This is a tough field. Beating any of these guys is really tough. Todd in the first round. All I can say is my guys have been bolting on all the Meritor Drive Force and all the Euclid big truck parts on that race car, and it's working out really well. We're running our career best this weekend. We're going to the semifinals.
Smile says 1,000 words.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah, what a great smile there.
Thanks, NHRA.
How about Frank Manzo? We're going to go back and look at this. Not too much you can find wrong with this.
No, it's going to be put up or shut up in the next round. It's Manzo, Furrow. And Frank's got his number performance-wise here this weekend, but Mickey's team will show up and give it a great shot in the semifinals. Jamie?
And Frank Manzo, the quest for 100 continues. You advance on to the semifinals, but you're up against Mickey Ferrer. What do you have to do to beat him?
I just got to run fast, cut a good light. And, you know, it's just going to be whenever we decide to run tomorrow, maybe on time or Monday, who knows what the good Lord is going to give us with weather. But we're just going to go up there and try and just repeat and just see what happens. You know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm not going to do anything different. Alan Nobby, Hoosier tires are working great. My team, hey, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Well, he already has 99 while he's at home, so I think he might know how to get another.
Yeah, he's probably got room for it, and we'll find out if he gets one step further when we get to the Top Alcohol Funny Car semifinals. As Manzo picks his lane in that big matchup with Mickey Farrell, and I love Bob Fry's sentiments there. How many people had Pomponio and Noakes in the semifinals? But they are there with Pomponio picking his lane when we come back to Maple Grove Raceway. Chance for the fans to visit Nitro Alley and get all of their souvenirs as Maple Grove celebrates its 50th year. Go ahead and get a burger, get fueled back up, jump on your Harley, and come on back. The semifinals are next from the AutoPlusNationals. It is semifinal time here on a Monday at Maple Grove Raceway as Mother Nature has forced us to the extra day here at the AutoPlusNationals, and we start with Top Alcohol Funny Cars, which are about to come to life here on a cool, crisp day at Maple Grove.
Obviously, your definition of cool and mine are entirely different.
Some would say cold, absolutely.
You know, I mean, you got guys directing their cars to the starting line wearing, you know, wool ski caps and gloves and looking for more. Manzo Furrow, the big matchup there, but how about Dan Pomponio and Paul Noakes? Both of the drivers getting an opportunity here on their side of the ladder because they had good opening rounds to move into the championship round. We are in uncharted territory as far as most of these drivers are concerned with the weather here today, Dave. I mean, it is cool. The track is very tight. It's going to...
Dan Pomponio, the driver in the left lane in that black car, was the runner-up at Charlotte to Andy Bull. Both of these drivers, though, not only in uncharted performance territories probably for them, but trying to also get to the victory lane for the first time ever.
Yeah, Paul Noakes with that team. It's a car that ran a lot of the iTray races for a while. They still got a nostalgia car, and a guy, look at that, 49 degrees. And the density altitude, minus 69 feet. That means, you know, you could run like 530s in this round. You could run 530s and lose. I mean, it is just unbelievable. But it's going to be a tough test, especially for these two. The next two coming up, Furrow and Manzo, do it a lot more often. They should have a lot more data and be able to adapt to these conditions. But for Paul Noakes, for Les Mellows, for the rest of the guys on that team, they've just worked very hard to get here. It's a very nice operation. Dan Pomponio, like we said, at the Charlotte race, went to the finals earlier this year, beat Frank Manzo right here on ESPN. So he's having a dream season with that, and he'd love to capture. This is a home game for him. Lives right down to my neck of the woods in southern New Jersey.
Key is always going to be wheel speed. We see these cars shake. That's part of the norm, but on a racetrack that is this cold, it'll be the guy, the team that can control that the most is going to have the best opportunity here.
Yeah, and Paul Noakes has probably never been in these kind of conditions before, at least not on the racetrack. He's from Canada, so he's out there in shorts and T-shirts.
About that driving job. How about Paul Noakes, who came from behind, was going left, was going right, and at the very last moment beat Dan Pomponio. Noakes into the semis.
What a sensational run. 569 beats a 570. Look at that. He is all over the place. Of course, Danny's hopping around too on the left side of the racetrack, but Paul Noakes into his first ever NHRA final round, and the team from Canada. Look at that. I mean, I did not think there was a way he could recover from that, and Dan still made a pretty good run. 570 at 246, but Noakes goes over 250 miles an hour. A big-time win. He wins it by 0.003 of a second. 17 inches at the stripe, as the tail of the tape will show. And how about that? Paul Noakes and his team get to go to their first ever championship round.
Trailing all the way until that moment. Crew going down the racetrack. They're fired up. Wait till he sees that one.
That was just a great job, like I said, for him, for Les Mellows and Tim and Ben and Randy, everybody on that team. That's pretty impressive stuff.
Here comes Mickey. Here comes Frank.
As a fan, I'm excited for this pair.
That man right there, the number 1 on his window, made it.
Yeah, Paul wasn't having trouble getting his helmet off. He just wanted to stay warm.
Quest for 100 is into the semifinals. Wow. Mickey touched the wall. Give it to Farrell. excuse me, give it to Manzo, who goes 573, 250 miles an hour. But how about the wheels up charged by the ace, who dodged a bullet there?
Yeah, Mickey did too. I mean, he went over and tagged the wall, but it could have been a lot more severe. Coming off the starting line, Mickey almost looked like he was lined up on an angle there that could just be.
Todd Benny was on earlier too.
Yeah, and he comes out, and both drivers, look at that, they went in the exact same way. You can see Frank way off it. So all the raw fuel coming out, then he gets back on, goes at 573, 250 miles an hour. And how about this? Going into the final round, Paul Noakes, lane choice over Manzo. Wow, boy, Mickey's been a tough year. They've had a couple of times this year where they have come in close encounter with. Look, wheels up. I mean, it looks like they got the exact same tune-up in them. I mean, when you're shaking the tires like that and pulling the front end, that tells you what the racetrack is like. Pulling the motors down because there's so much traction out there. Mickey, see already off the throttle because those blades on the supercharger closed right there, trying to avoid it, but momentum's going to take him in, tag it. Meanwhile, Frank on the other side still popping and banging over there. So obviously not a great run for Frank Manzo, but it puts him in line to try to win this race for the 14th time.
Aw, Bob, don't go, buddy. Come on. Your fans love you.
That's my entire fan club.
Let's check in with Jamie.
And Frank Manzo getting out of the car saying, "Are you sure I won?" You got a lucky one on this one. Going to a final, going for that 100th national win. Are you ready?
Yes. I didn't know if I crossed the center line. My visor got all fogged up. Mickey's has a great team. He's a great driver. I knew I had to be on time, but I guess he had more trouble than me, and I pedaled it 2 or 3 times. And I was very surprised to see my win light. I guess you need a lucky round each round, and thank God we got through this.
Thanks, Frank.
Only one round win away as we get ready for Top Alcohol Dragster, where the Indy winner, Dwayne Shields, is set to race Chris Demke, who might make the quickest blown pass ever. Coming up, stay around. Back to the Auto Plus. Glad you're with us as we move now into Top Alcohol Dragster semifinal. Dwayne Shields brings his brand new Peak machine up against Chris Demke. It's the first of 2 pairs. Bill Reichert and Mike Koski come up. I said he might be going after a blown record. I talked to Adam Rhodes, one of the guys for Chris Demke's team, and he says, oh yeah, we have Sean Cowie's 5.243 on our radar. We plan to obliterate it. They've been obliterating a lot of things, including engines lately.
2 supercharged cars, 2 fuel-injected cars in these semifinals. That's the blown car. That's the ejected car for Dwayne Shields. These guys haven't met each other on the track in 2 years. This one's over early.
Now let's pay attention.
Wow,
to the
blew
number.
it up.
Nope, blew it up again. Give him an A for effort. Give him a 622 that gets him into the finals here in Maple Grove. Supercharger just a little bit askew. I'm not a crew chief, but that's bad.
Yeah. I mean, Dwayne Shields struck the tires. I mean, those things did make 1 full revolution. And right about now, Demke's car heading down the racetrack. And then before it gets to right about half track there, see the cylinders lean out, pops, and bang. So that's kind of an all-or-nothing race car so far. There it is again. And taking a look at that car coming out. Just a wacky-looking run right there.
Dwayne Shields trying to improve on a 5th place point in the standings. His time's running out. Demke, though, trying to hold on to the number 2 spot.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, looking at that car and that team, that they're the winners.
Well, burnout's already complete for Mike Koski, Bill Reichert. Our final pair here in the 2nd round. NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing Series continues in 2 weeks from Las Vegas at Big O Tires NHRA National. You can catch qualifying late on Saturday night or early Sunday morning, depending on how you want to look at that. 2:30 a.m. or better yet, just catch the re-air at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then 3 hours of finals, which start at 8 p.m. Sunday evening, October 28th. Jamie.
Chris Demke advances on to the final, but you are going through some parts this weekend. How is this going to affect you guys?
You know, you're exactly right, Jamie. We haven't been too easy on parts. The weather's great at this track. I love it, but our tune-up just doesn't seem to be able to come around to it. And boy, the weather we got today especially, I was really hoping for a good low 20, and I felt it vibrating early, and I didn't think I was going to win. I felt it pop, felt the chutes come out because of the automatic deployment, and figured Dwayne was going to go around me, but I guess he must have smoked the tires or something. So I got another round win. That's great. I want to thank my sponsors, Operational Solutions, 801 Racing. You know, if racing starts at 8, winning starts at 8:01. So maybe we can put it together and come back next round. I don't know. We'll go back and check it out.
All right, he hits Reichert in the final.
Yep, Neil Race Reichert. We just saw that win. He went 5:32.5.
And Mike Koski had problems. It was interesting that Bill Reichert had lane choice, took the right side because in the pair before them, Chris Demke had lane choice, took the left side. Mike Koski, just a great racer, over 300 rounds of racing and been to 2 finals in his last 5 races, but no match for Bill Reichert.
Well, fall is definitely in the air here in Maple Grove, and when we come back, we're going to hand out some Wallies that look amazingly the same color as some of those leaves.
HRA Lucas Oil Racing Series brought to you by Lucas Oil, the world leader of high-performance lubricants and problem-solving additives for everyday cars and trucks.
And it is the comp final. As we welcome you back to Maple Grove, Calvin Hill, Sal Biondo, stat guy.
Sal Biondo, the former Lucas Oil world champion, in your left lane, taking on Calvin Hill from Pennsylvania. Red line by Biondo, and he loses. Calvin Hill from Pennsylvania gets the win with the Grand Am. It was faster this weekend. He goes home with the Wally.
Almost reached drag racing's holy grail, the runner-up finisher in Gainesville, but now he's got his first ever national event win. And now it's time for Top Alcohol Dragster, the faithful that have stood by and came out to a Monday in Maple Grove. We're going to be treated to a good one here. As Chris Demke and Bill Reichert are ready to go.
Has the potential to be a good one. The question is, what kind of race car Jerry Madden bringing to the starting line? We saw him blow it up in the last round. They got the 5-time champ out of the racetrack. It's not going to be easy for the West Coast team. Wow, check this out. Oh, my.
It's going to be Bill Reichert. Chris Demke gave him all he wanted until the car broke again. Reichert goes 5:28.6 to earn his 27th national event win. That's second best all time. Chasing Rick Santos now.
Yep, chasing one of the best in the business, but Bill Reichert is right up there with the top drivers. You saw Demke on and off the throttle a couple of times, and then they blew it up again. Boy, it's been a tough weekend for that team. They keep going to final round after final round, but right there had the best seat in the house to watch Bill Reichert lower the boom with that 5:28 and that record-setting win.
Bill Reichert, 27th career win, second on the all-time win list. What does this one mean to you?
This one means a lot to me. Of course, it's near the end of the season, so it puts us into second place by beating Chris and makes everything really worthwhile, it seems like, at the end of the season. Got to thank Bars Leaks, Rizlone, Redline Oil, Motor State, all of our sponsors, NGK, for helping us do this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
A nice man. Knows his math, too. Second in the national points.
Anybody tells you they're not counting points at this stage of the game is probably just making it up. But there you go. Frank Manzo closes the deal with the win. He will get that 16th championship. Paul Noakes over there in the far lane, uncharted territory. I was telling him earlier, they said, got him right where you want him. I said, no, this is a holiday here in the United States, you know, Columbus Day and everything. I said, is it a holiday up there in Canada where he's from? He said, well, it's a Thanksgiving weekend for us. He said, I was off already for the weekend. He said, we got a great race car. We're having a lot of fun. I mentioned Les Mellows, the crew chief, not known to a lot of the folks out here that watch these cars run, but they got Jay and Ian, the sponsors, with them. He said, we put them to work here today, along with Tim and Ben and Randy, and they're just having the time of their lives. And I said, you know, you guys got Frank right where you want him, don't you, with that? You got lane choice?
That guy. Of course, Frank's ever win was not with an outlaw funny car. It came with an altered back in 1980 at the Sports Nationals against Mike Koski. And I remember when he brought that car to Englishtown to test before he went down to Bowling Green for win number 1.
Let's face it, this is not a shoe, and the track conditions are so good, it would be very easy for Frank to shake right here.
Yeah, this is the best opportunity Paul Noakes could have with these conditions. We saw Frank shake last time and everything, and if he doesn't get a hold of the racetrack, you know, we could have a stunning upset. Shakes a little bit, but gets in. Manzo, his 100th national event win, his 16th world championship. And those guys kept him honest. Let me tell you, Frank has now won 39 final rounds in a row. He has not lost a final in 6 years. Look, he shakes it and still goes 550 and a booming speed at 263 miles an hour. Paul Noakes and the team, look at the guys back in the line, are pumped up. They go 561 at the best seat in the house to watch Frank Manzo make history.
Champ again. Noakes had the RT and was leading all the way to the 660, but at the end, Manzo hits the century mark.
Frank Manzo, win number 100, 16-time NHRA champion. What does this career number mean to you?
It's unbelievable. I said this a couple times. Young kid who wanted to win one national event back in 74, 75, to win 100. You don't even dream about it. Do it at a track that back in 76 I raced Joe Amato with his alcohol funny car. And I was here at a match race, and I was thinking about the other night. And I thought I was going to run fast in Joe Amato, and I crossed the center line. You know, to my knowledge, it's the last time I've been up on the center line. And Alanabi, Hoosier Tire is unbelievable. Lucas Oil, I mean, they all make it possible. My crew, I mean, great bunch of guys. I mean, they all took off work today, and they knew how important it was. My wife, Michelle, it's just unbelievable, guys. You have no idea. Thank you.
Always humble is Frank Manzo, as are the other class winners, Stat Guy.
Congratulations to our Super Stock winner, Brian Warner. How about Stock? Craig Marshall, his dad won here back in '85. Jack Sapanik from Moosic, Pennsylvania won Super Comp. And in Super Gas, Al Kenny beat his son in the final round.
A look back at the big moment as Frank Manzo wins for the 14th time at the Grove. It's his winningest track. That 14th win also got him the magical 100. He's only the second guy to do that, and that 100th earned him his 16th world title. Nobody, not even John Force, is in the rarefied air that Frank Manzo is in.